Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Leopard 1. It's a tier 10 German medium tank. It's located on the south spawn of Murovanka, and this one is under the command of Awppenheimer. And yes, he's master platoon with the Char Future 4 on his team. Game on. 3 marks of excellence on the barrel of his 105mm L7 A1 gun. They built 6,565 Leopards in total, but not all of them were main battle tanks. Only 4,744. The others were utility vehicles, and some of them were actually bought not because of the actual tank, but so they could test it out. Some nations, even Britain, actually bought 4 to have a look at them and see if they were any good. Unfortunately, the Leopard didn't get accepted by Britain. Instead, they went on to build the Challenger tank as our proposed tank after the Centurion. Oh, not after the Centurion, actually after the Chieftain. Anyway, this tank has got a 105mm gun capable of 420 alpha, and it'll penetrate 278mm of armor with standard APCR. With a premium APCR, it'll go through 323mm. Well, he's been spotted by the enemy. He's taken up a fairly aggressive position, slightly to the north of the Magic Forest, so to speak. He decided to pull back for the moment because the enemy is coming in. They're coming in directly opposite him instead of across his teammates. The thing about the Leopard is you have to understand it doesn't have much in the way of armor. The best armor on it is 70mm, and that's at the front of the hull. The turret only has 52mm at the front, so it's very lightly armored, but it's got a blisteringly good gun. Of course, it's a British designed gun, but made in Germany by Rheinmetall, and it's very accurate. It's got a very high gun velocity as well, 1,480 meters per second. So it's point and shoot. Yeah, look at that. Lovely high roll, 450. Good start to the game. It's going to do it again. And this time round, it's the E100 who takes the hit. But they've got 2 E100s, so he's hit both of them now. And pumps another one in. You can see he's actually aiming these shells, trying to get the ammo racks inside the turrets. The E100s recognise what's going on, so they're less keen to take shells from them. We aimed that one for the weak spot on the lower plate, and we've lost virtually all the tanks we had in the Magic Forest. Yeah, we have lost all now. But he's retreating and keeping up the fire on the enemy as he's going. So he's keeping them spotted. He's got a 410 meter view range, so he can keep his eye on them. Didn't get a hit there, but should get a kill here. Oh! It ricocheted off. That T-54 driver is very lucky, and now we're in for trouble. Yeah, got 2 shells slammed into us, 3, bounce 1. That's a lot of damage very, very quickly indeed. Yeah, he's lost 1,400 hit points of damage in next to no time at all. They were looking for him, and as soon as the T-54 saw him, he got the shot in. There's the QS. It's a low roll there. It's a high roll. Only by 1 hit point though. And there's a kill shot. Okay, he can get a kill shot on one of the E100s. He's aiming for the other one now. Low roll. Can he get a kill shot this time? Should be able to. I think he wants to match more hit points. That's a high roll. From this position, he's got kind of hold down position going forward. And there goes one of the E100s. Now, that 121 is very dangerous. Basically like a T-54. Nice if he could take that one out, but it's going to take a few shots to do it. And he gets one into the engine bay. We've got a strip 103G right up on top of the hill. Ricocheted off the lower plate. 121's gone behind the house. We can't get a shot there. He's looking around for a target. Difficult to see one at the moment. Our Wizzy 132 has actually taken up a position slightly to the east of us. And there's the 121 now. It's a good job he's found this spot to fire from, because otherwise he would have been toast by now. The enemy tanks couldn't get a shot at him. It was very difficult for them to see him. And so even though he was pumping rounds out, they just couldn't get them into him at all. There only one tank up on the enemy at the moment. Most of their team were able to hold the enemy at bay on top of that hill. And now he's got sight of the Progetto. Unfortunately, it ricochets off the front plate. The Progetto is the Italian version of the same European tank. Of course, this was a project between 3 countries, Germany, France and Italy. This was the German version, that's the Italian version, and the AMX-30 was the French version. Well, that guy retreated very nattily, but he got taken out in the end by our other Leopard 1. And now we're looking for a T&H. He's over by the houses at the moment, hiding behind them. There he is. Just needed to see. And he gets a nice shot. A high roll, 464. He's just hiding his front end behind him. That's better. It's knocked the building down. And he gets a kill. So he's up to 3 kills now. The standard reload time is 8.92 seconds. And Awppenheimer's managed to get it down to 7.28. The scores are even on numbers, but the enemy team has much more in the way of hit points. So they do have the advantage for the moment. And most of our team have been pushed back to almost the last quarter of the map. So the enemy is basically ahead of us. Oh, there's a Progetto. One straight through the side of the turret. 428 a high roll. And the enemy team does have an AMX-30, which is actually out in the field at the moment, heading north towards their cap. Striv's back up on top of that hill. No, he tried to go in through the side. I'm not sure if the shell went past him, though. Okay, there's only 4 enemies left. 1 Arty and 3 other tanks, one of which is a T-30, the other a 121B, and the third is the AMX-30. Tries to go for the T-30's rear. Slow him down a little. He should do better this time. Yeah, one's through the turret. Low roll though. 362. It's a one shot. He's gone. Now it's a case of trying to get at that 121 or the AMX-30. There's the 121. Remember, that's basically a T-54 clone with a different turret. It's actually a very good tank. It's one of those premium tanks you can actually buy for bonds in the gift shop. And he's gone. The other Leopard got him. So Awppenheimer's got 4 kills. He pumps 1 round into the AMX-30. The Leopard is a really good sniping tank. And he was doing a fantastic job spotting the enemy for his team to allow them to get damage. He's up to 6,000 hit points of damage now, but I reckon he has a lot more in the way of spotting damage. There's the back chat. 1 into him. He needs 1 more shot to kill him. The AMX-30 is exposed. He's gone. And that's it. They've won. Incredible game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second-class tanker for Awppenheimer in the Leopard 1. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He did get 4 exactly. A Viper effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, and a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 6. He also managed to get a high caliber in that game for doing the most damage overall, as well as a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win rate was very high, 9,067. And I know that's high because the Leopard 1 is a top tank played by a lot of people who've got to tier 10. And so the standard is incredibly high. If you want to get a very high score, you really have to push it out. And in fact, in many cases, that means getting not just a high caliber, but a Radley Waters or a Pools medal instead. So yeah, very well done. Let's have a look at team score and see where he is. Well, he definitely got the highest damage in the game. Look at that, 6,794 hit points. The next highest scorer was the other Leopard 1 on his own team, who picked up a Top Gun and 5,231 hit points. And the third highest damage, I should say, actually went to that 121B, 2,863 hit points. And that guy was the highest scorer on the enemy team. So the enemy team were reduced very, very quickly to bare health and then taken out of the game. When it came to kills, it was the other Leopard 1. He got 6 kills. 4 kills went to Awppenheimer. So between them, they killed 2/3 of the enemy team. And the only other players who managed to get more than 1 kill were the T30 and the T54 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it was the Leopard 1 on the enemy team. He got 1,341, probably because he did so much spotting and damage as well. If we just check his figures, yes, look at that. 3,823 hit points of spotting. So that's why he got the high score. Not just that he did a lot of damage as well, 5,231, but the combined damage of the spotting as well really bumped his score up. And in fact, actually, his win rate from that game was 6,200. So very well played by him indeed. The next highest on, if I close that down, the next highest on XP was the Wizzy 132A, who was acting as a spotter as well. He did a patrol duty medal and 1,034 base. And he did 5,846 hit points of spotting assist. So very well done of him to actually go further east than Awppenheimer during that battle to enable the team to keep spotting and keep shooting. In fact, Awppenheimer was using the spotting from the 132A to actually get some damage on the enemy and get his high caliber. And finally, we've got Awppenheimer with 970 base from his 6,794 damage. Let's have a look at the detail. Awppenheimer fired 31 rounds in that game, so that's just slightly more than half of the ammunition. You get 60 rounds of ammunition in a Leopard, 25 direct hits on the enemy, and 17 penetrations. Yeah, they were tier 10 tanks, and it's difficult to pen tier 10 tanks. 6,794 hit points, of which 5,799 were at more than 300 meters. He received 4 hits from the enemy, 3 of them penetrated. Those are the moments he actually got spotted by that enemy T54. And of course, he benefited from all the spotting assists from his teammates as they piled on Awppenheimer. They were waiting to try and spot him and see where he was because they could feel his shells, but they couldn't see him. And it was only when the T54 revealed him, all those shells came in simultaneously. And yeah, he did suffer a lot of damage. He actually got 1 non-penetration as well. One of the enemy tanks bounced around off him. I think it was the Progetto, or at least one of them. 390 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted. 10 enemy vehicles damaged. 4 killed. 261 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 77,169 credits from the game, 38,585 from personal reserves, and 115,754 credits altogether. And after repair, ammunition, resupply, and consumables, and yes, he did have to use a fair bit of premium ammo if he was going to get through the hulls of some of those enemies, he ended up with a loss of 25,812 credits for the game. He did get 7 bonds, and he got 1,455 base XP times 5. Actually, it's not base, but the bottom XP, times 5 for the first victory, took away 7,275 experience points altogether. So yeah, that was a good game. It was good because Awppenheimer recognized very early on that the other teammates were going to get wiped out very quickly, and he pulled away from the forest as fast as he could to get to a firing position because he realized that if he stayed where the others were, he was going to get wiped out very quickly as well, and then they'd soon lose the game afterwards. So by pulling back to the baseline, right back to the red line, so to speak, he was still able to get shots on the enemy, keep them in sight, and by doing so, he actually survived long enough to rack up a huge score and a high caliber. But he did take a lot of damage to get to that position. The moment that T-54 spotted him, 1,400 hit points gone, almost just like that. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the armor for the Leopard 1. As you may know, if you've seen these profiles before, it's mostly very, very light armor, so this tank can move quick. It's supposed to be a very accurate sniper shooter at long range, and it's not supposed to get hit at all because really there's no armor there for it to do so. If you look at the live map, you can see anywhere on the Leopard you get hit apart from the mantlets, it's more than likely going to go straight through because the armor is way too thin. We look at the collision model, you can see that most of the armor is on that front plate, 70mm at the front on the front plate, coming up at 116 because of the angling. Lower plate 50mm coming out to 83. The turret itself is fairly weak, it's 60mm, but depending on which angle you look at as to how thin it is. And you can see the sides of the vehicle, 35mm, easily penetratable from the sides. And of course, remember, when the enemy saw him, they fired at his rear quarter as he was trying to run away from them. So they had no problem penetrating 35mm of armor, even though slightly angled. If we look at the modules, you can see that the driver is on the left-hand side, the gun is on the left-hand side, the tank commander sitting directly behind him, and the loader on the right-hand side there. There's a huge ammo store right next door to the driver, way up front. And of course, although that's the best armor on the vehicle, there is also an ammo rack in the turret, in the bustle. So that's what you should aim for, either that or to try and get around in directly through the side into the turret basket, where you'll either set that ammo rack off or you'll get one of the crew members. Engine at the rear, sandwiched between two fuel tanks and transmission behind. It's a very conventional layout for a modern main battle tank. So a nice little victory in the first game. Yes, this is a double feature. And let's have a look at the second battle straight away. The second replay is in the Object 279 Early, the Tier 10 Soviet Premium Medium Reward Tank. Well, this Tier 10 Heavy is actually quite a monster because there aren't many places that you can take it out because it's got very thick armor as well as modules that are kind of concealed in many ways. And the best way to take out one of these is actually to hit it from above with an artillery round or with a very strong round that can actually punch through the heavy armor. Very difficult to do that. Awppenheimer's taking it straight into the town centre. It's a standard battle on Ghost Town. He's already been beaten here by a K91 PT. He must have been on a rocket sled to get here that quickly. But Awppenheimer's decided to park himself behind, and in fact actually he's going to use his armour to good effect and get really front and personal with the enemy. Yep, takes him around in the tracks, but he's got 4 sets of tracks to work with, and now he's going to be right up front on these ones. Punches his first round through the front of the E100. Now the gun is only a 122, but it's capable of 440 alpha, and it'll penetrate 258mm of armor with standard ammo. But with the premium ammo, it goes through 340mm. So he's having no difficulty at all punching through those enemies, but he just got hit by the E100 with a round for 678. Now that was a heat round. It's about the only way he was going to get through that armor. Okay, E100 have it again. Lower plates. Managed to stop the heat round this time. And now we're facing an Object 705. Lower plate gets a high roll. And he's decided to go up close and personal as well. But he only gets us in the track. Now there's one tank being very eager to do damage to us. Oh, that 705 is not going to last long if he keeps playing like that. He's now going to get hit from both directions, and he's out the game, just like that. Standard reload, 10.07 seconds. Awppenheimer's got it down to 7.64. And here's that Tiger 2. Yep, takes a round through the upper plate as well. He's going to do it again. Yep. And he's a one-shot now. Visante's decided to go around the outside. Tiger 2's dead. There's nobody else down this road, so he might as well follow the Visante, who's just around the corner. Oh, got a griller. Takes around 432, went straight through the gun shield. Visante's just around the corner. Over here we've got a Progetto. I'm not sure he actually got damage on that Progetto, but he certainly will get one on the gorilla if he gets a hit. No, he doesn't. And in fact, the Visante came around the corner, hit us in the tracks. Now we're loaded, so the Visante's going to suffer this time. Takes one through the lower plate. High roll for 458. Now it's spaced armor around there, but he still punches around through for 309. There's only 6 enemies left, because at the moment he pulled back just to see if he can get a shot on that Progetto. But there's a Lancer C and the gorilla up ahead, and the rest of the team is now charging towards the enemy. He has got 20% of the enemy hit pool, so he might have a high caliber after all. And that Progetto's still off to the right. Oh, he's gone. The K91PT's after the Lancer and the gorilla. We've got a Leopard 1 up on hill. Can he get a shot? Yes, he can. 470, takes a round in the track. They're very difficult to kill. The Leopard could get some damage if he can use APCR, but to punch through the armor. But the Leopard's gone, and that means there's only one Leopard enemy tank left. It's a Lancer C. Now, he didn't get a hit there, he just got a critical hit, so he hit the tracks. But there's the kill. Oh! Right at the end of the game, he leaps off the cliff. Look at all that damage. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was another second-class tanker for Awppenheimer in the Object 279 early. He managed to get a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, and he got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6 on this one. He got a cool-headed because he had 10 ricochets or non-penetrating shots in a row, as well as a high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game, a steel wall for blocking the most damage in that game, and a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win rate on this one was 5,378, which is super unicum and a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, he managed to get 6,678 hit points of damage out of this game. The next highest scorer being the K91PT, who was almost competing with him for damage with 4,623. And after that, it was the Gorilla 15 on the enemy team with 3,872. When it came to kills, he was actually beaten on this occasion by the K91PT and the IS-3. They were benefiting from the tanks that Awppenheimer was badly damaging. And so consequently, they ended up with some of the kills that he should have had, but they managed to snap away from him. 2 kills went to Awppenheimer and also to the Char Future 4, who also managed to pick up a Leverslayer's medal in that game. When it came to base XP, it was the K91 who did best with 1,321. Then came Awppenheimer with 1,184, and they were the only 2 to get over 1,000 base. The next highest scorer being the IS-3 with 898. Awppenheimer fired only 19 rounds in this game. You get 40 rounds in total on an Object 279 early. So you do have to pick your targets as to which ones you're going to hit. But if you do hit them, you do a lot of damage. Remember that 440 alpha really adds up in the end. 18 direct hits and 16 penetrations on the enemy. 6,678 hit points of damage, of which 432 were at more than 300 meters. So most of the damage was done at close range. He received 14 hits from the enemy in the game, only one of which actually penetrated. 13 non-penetrations and 3,390 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 2 enemy vehicles, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 2. And there's this 6 difference for the Confederate. 5,582 hit points of damage assist. And he earned 84,650 credits for the game. 42,325 from personal reserves, 126,974 altogether. But after repair, ammunition, resupply, and consumables, he came away with a profit of 29,058 credits, even though he used a fair bit of premium ammo. He was able to switch back to standard ammo at least at once to actually benefit from the extra credits. He got 7 bonds because it was a tier 10 game with tier 8 tanks in it. 1,776 XP times 5 for the first victory. 89 for this being a premium vehicle. Took away 8,969 experience points altogether. Let's have a quick look at the armor on this vehicle. It is very, very difficult to get through. If I switch to the live model, you can see it's red. It's very, very hard armor all the way around. In fact, the only way you can actually decrease the armor is you can see if I tilt the thing and you're shooting down on an Object 279, it's a lot easier to get through. But if he's looking directly at you, even if he's hull down, there you can see when he's in a hull down position, he's virtually impossible to get a penetration through. In fact, the only place you can really get a decent pen is to go for those very thin cupolas on top of his turret, because when you hit those, the armor is only 210 millimeters. Only 210. That's 21 centimeters of thick metal. It's very, very difficult to pen indeed. And it's a very thin target to aim at. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Yeah, this is one we've actually got the module map for. You can see the driver's in a reclined position sitting in the center up front. Right next door to me on his right-hand side, on our left-hand side as we're looking at it, is an ammo rack. Of course, that's very thick armor around there, so he doesn't really have to worry that much. And around the sides of the vehicle, we've got angled armor here, as well as spaced armor. So it's very difficult for the enemy to punch through the side even. So yeah, still very difficult to kill. We've got the gunner in front of the tank commander. We can see his cupola, and we can also see the cupola for the loader. The loader does have an ammo rack in the bustle, a small one on his side of the vehicle, and I think much easier to actually penetrate will be the engine sandwiched between the 2 fuel tanks at the back. Now, if you try to hit underneath the vehicle, yeah, good luck. You're not going to get through anything there except doing a critical hit, because you've got 4 sets of tracks. Now, they're connected to the underside of the vehicle, but even if you track one of these vehicles, I'm afraid it's not going to slow it down that much. Even if you fire at the tracks, all it does is hold him up for a short while before he gets moving again. So the best thing you can do is to try and outmaneuver him, and if you can get behind him, you can put a round into his engine. But if you're trying to face hug one of these, I think you're going to be going back to the garage very quickly. So thanks again to Awppenheimer for sending us some great replays. 2 games where he got second-class tankers, but he was the best player in both battles. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes even if you get to tier 10 and you're a top hotshot pilot in your little tank, yeah, it's not going to help you, because you're still going to be up against the standards set by other unicums. So thanks for the replays, but no ace tankers, I'm afraid, on this occasion. But you never know, we might get a replay in from an Awppenheimer anytime, and it might be another ace tanker. If you enjoyed these replays, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.